So if you're looking to sell your house in 2026, you definitely want to watch this video. We're up against some hurdles, but the good news is we're nowhere near a market crash. I've got some people that have speculated a 2008 crash coming, and that's been predicted for years and years, and it still hasn't happened. Will it happen at some point? I don't know. It doesn't look likely, but anything is possible. So, as of recording this, we are still in a war with Iran. And you're probably asking, what does that have to do with the price of my home and the ability to sell it? Well, it actually affects it huge because this particular war is extremely inflationary. It's caused the price of gas and oil to skyrocket, which sparks inflation. So, goods and services, gas, everything's more expensive right now, and lower interest rates and inflation do not mix. So inflation is the enemy of lower interest rates. They do not get along. So when you see price of goods and services rise, you will also see interest rates rise, unfortunately. And as we know, as homeowners, that when the interest rates go up, buyers tend to hide out a little bit more. So it makes it more challenging to sell your home. So whether you are pro-war or anti-war, it doesn't really matter. We do know it's inflationary. So at the time of this recording, there's talks about more troops going in, boots on the ground, and getting more involved. We don't know if that's going to play out or if it ends. I will say, if you're in the camp that believes this is going to stretch out for a lengthy period of time and you know you want to transact in 2026, you may want to get your home on the market and try to get ahead of this before we experience much more interest rate hikes. Now, the conversation going into 2026 was how many rate cuts would we possibly expect throughout the year? That conversation has now dramatically shifted. In fact, a lot of the betting markets are now changing course and betting on how many rate hikes we get throughout the year. So that is very concerning that conversation has shifted from how many rate cuts to probably no cuts to how many rate hikes are we going to get. If that plays out like that, you're going to have a lot harder time selling your home. So again, if you know you want to transact in 2026, my humble advice is to get ahead of this unless you firmly believe that this conflict in Iran is going to end anytime relatively soon. In which case, if you believe that or you're very certain of it, then you may choose to just wait it out. But for those of us that believe that this could possibly drag on for a lot longer or that risk factor is there, my advice is to get ahead of it. Once you start getting more houses on the market and you have more competition and you're fighting increasing interest rates, it is going to be really difficult to sell your home. Way more difficult than it is currently as we speak. The 10-year treasury is what tends to drive mortgage rates up, and we saw a huge spike this week at the mid-March level, 2026. We saw the 10-year spike up huge. Interest rates are following. We hope that fluctuates some and comes back down, but it doesn't look likely in the near future. So what does that mean for you as a homeowner who wants to sell in 2026? Well, it means a few things. A, get ahead of it. The quicker you act, the better. Be very cautious about who you work with. We see a lot of real estate agents shifting out of the business because it is a lot harder in this career now than it was when homes sold themselves during that COVID area. So I'm seeing a lot of agents that have kept their license, but it is a very part-time job for them. They work a full-time job on the side, and unfortunately, they're not accessible when you need them to be. And I know a lot of clients don't know this because you're not seeing what goes on behind the scenes, but I'm the one making calls to these agents and they're unavailable for sometimes days before they get back to you. So choosing somebody who does this full-time, regularly, and is accessible is going to be huge. In a challenging market, it becomes way more important to rely on somebody who's professional, that has a good sales history. That is easy to research online. You can see who has an online presence. Go to Zillow, type somebody's name. If you type mine in, you're going to see a ton of Google reviews, a ton of Zillow reviews, a ton of sales history. And that's the kind of thing you're looking for in an agent. You really don't want to get somebody who's new in this market. During COVID times, we saw people come into the market and they could sell a house in 10 hours and look like they're amazing just because the market was so easy to sell a home in. And now definitely is not that time. So again, choose your agent wisely. keep an eye on what's happening politically, with this war. Again, doesn't matter if you agree with it or are against it. The numbers are the numbers. It's inflationary. It's going to hurt us. We hope that it ends quickly for the sake of inflation and for a bunch of different reasons, but we hope it ends quick and we end up going back to discussions of interest rate cuts rather than hikes, but that's not happening as of now. So if you have any questions or you're thinking about selling a home, feel free to reach out. I'd love to chat. I always offer people a free market analysis of what your home might be able to sell for. We can talk about it. I'm not a high pressure guy, so if you reach out and decide not to do it, that's fine too. Love to talk. Feel free to reach out. Have a good day.